Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last week of March. This month, should I say, has absolutely flown by. Welcome to the Plug Talk Sports live show, episode 178. We got both Brandons, and then we got myself, Danny Torres, and we've got Janka in the house. How's everyone's week going so far, considering that it's only Monday?
Aside from my bracket being absolutely garbage, pretty solid week.
Decent
Anyone
week so
else?
far. Yeah.
Big week, yeah.
Good. Not bad.
Yeah. Who else here and our viewers saw Janka in a headlock by Jorge Masvidal?
Follow
What
me
a
at Duncan
guy.
on stop.
But how was that interaction? How did that go?
Yeah, that was unique.
I don't know how that worked. Wow. We're learning something new every day. Learning something new every day.
We're innovators here at Plug Talk Sports. We're going to get into some good stuff right away. And we're going to go through everything. So fasten your seatbelts, as the captains say, or don't say on Spirit. Here we are, AFC East. We're going into NFL free agency. Let's see what the Bills have secured. So Josh Allen agreed to terms in a new 6-year deal worth $330 million with $250 million guaranteed. I think we can all say we saw that coming. He's the MVP. There's not really much surprise there. Darrington Evans, running back, signed a 1-year, $1.21 million deal with $15,000 guaranteed. I'm just going to read quickly through what the Bills have signed, and then we can talk about after what you guys think. Running back Ty Johnson re-signed for 2 years, $5 million deal. We got fullback Reggie Gilliam re-signed to a 1-year, $2 million deal. They also got Josh Palmer, signed a 3-year, $36 million contract with $18 million guaranteed. Khalil Shakir signed a 4-year extension worth up to $60.2 million, including $32 million guaranteed at signing. They got an offensive guard, Kendrick Green, signed a 1-year contract. This is a big one here. Joey Bosa going to the Bills, 1-year, $12.6 million deal with $12 million guaranteed and a max value of $15.6 million. Janka's going to like this one. Gregory Rousseau signed a 4-year, $80 million extension. That includes $54 million guaranteed at signing. DeMar Hamlin is back. 1-year, $2 million deal. But those are mainly the big ones from the Bills. Since we got two AFC East guys here, being both Brandons, what do you guys think about the Bills?
Honestly, just a revamp. I mean, from, of course, bring back their own pieces, Josh Allen, MVP year. You had to go bring him with a big contract. The Bosa piece, I think, is really interesting because definitely left field type of signing, though. A lot of people said the Dolphins had interest. A lot of people said that, maybe he likes it to – you can have an immediate contender. Not saying Buffalo isn't an immediate contender, but a player with injury history – adds onto a pass rush that's already good. And again, with Miller and, of course, Rousseau, it's going to be something where, again, still very early in free agency, I would have to say, especially with the draft only a month away officially today. It's going to be really interesting to see what other moves Buffalo does to try to push themselves in the AFC.
I think Buffalo's just doing everything that they possibly can to try to get over defeating the Chiefs. I think really if you summarize it as a whole and just look at ever since Josh Allen took over, I mean, they've won the AFC East. I don't think any of us can say that they haven't. They've won playoff games, but then every time they get to the Chiefs, whether it's the AFC divisional round or the AFC championship game, that's where their season ends. So I think really if your general manager, Brandon Beane, if your head coach, Sean McDermott, the main goal right now is how can we get over that hump? How can we defeat Andy Reid? How can we defeat Patrick Mahomes? Because I've said this so many times. It's one thing to beat them in week 5 of any regular season. It's another thing to beat them come playoff time. So I think I will definitely agree in that the Joey Bosa signing was definitely out of left field because there was a lot of reports that he was going to come here. There was a lot of reports that he was going to play alongside his brother Nick. So there was a lot of stuff floating around. You just really never know who to really trust and who really not to trust. So, but again, I just think, come when these odds come out and who's favored to win the AFC East, I think we all can agree that it's as long as Josh Allen's here, Buffalo's going to be the main guy to beat every single season.
I still think they're the John. Before you go, I still think Buffalo is the main team in the division.
Yeah, like Buffalo, like before any teams we're gonna mention later in the show, it's kind of like in this stage with like all the other teams where they're just gonna try to copy what the Eagles did this past Super Bowl, where they're gonna revamp the entire defense and try to get as many pass rushes as possible. I don't know if you guys have noticed that a lot of teams have been trying to go defensive heavy, but with Matt Collins now in my Patriots and Amari Cooper still haven't been signed, what weapons does Josh Allen actually have besides Dalton Kincaid and Shakir? Like, to be honest, like, can you guys tell me? Like, so if that as of right now, their offense isn't looking too hot.
I mean, you could argue.
I don't know if we really want. I don't know. I'm not going to go that route.
No, I mean, they also got Keon Coleman he's a stud.
And James Cook.
He's a rookie. He didn't get much playing time.
And like a front line that's like, second to none.
No, yeah, that's good. But like,
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. I was a broken record of that same conversation last year where I said, who does Buffalo have? Who does Josh Allen even have? And somehow, some way, they had enough. So if they add on another receiver, exactly. And again, if they add on another receiver, let's say that Amari Cooper does come back. Let's say that, still in free agency, there is going to be someone, let alone this draft that's coming up. There's a lot of decent receivers that you don't even need in the first round, let alone the first 2 rounds. So it's going to be really interesting, though. I do see your point, but I think offensively, they're more in tune than I'd say they're secondary.
I was about to say, like, how many times have we seen your Patriots with Tom Brady take a bunch of nobodies to the Super Bowl?
Oh, plenty of times.
It's about the quarterback. So I think your point's invalid there when you're talking about.
Don't compare Josh Allen to Tom Brady. Let's not do that, bro.
I'm not comparing.
One quarterback has an IQ. The other one is just there. It's just there running around the field.
I'm saying if you got a good quarterback, you can make it happen.
Josh Allen's probably going to get Mike McDaniel fired because it seems like ever since Mike McDaniel got hired, the Dolphins can't beat Buffalo. I don't care what anybody says. Since Mike McDaniel was hired in 2022, the Dolphins have 1 win in 3 seasons against Buffalo, including playoffs. 1 win. And that was here at Hard Rock Stadium when it was like 135 degrees and you saw Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen were completely gassed out.
I will say my Patriots have beaten the Bills more times than the Dolphins have in recent history. Just saying, and my teams have been absolute trash. But that's not here or there.
As long as if Josh Allen is in this division, the Dolphins had to deal with Tom Brady for 20-plus years. They're now dealing with Josh Allen. And I don't see the Dolphins, Buffalo, or the New York Jets figuring out Buffalo. I'm sorry. I don't see New England or the Jets, led by now Justin Fields, figuring out Buffalo. I'm sorry.
You talked about
my team, baby.
You guys talked about your Dolphins. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So one, if not the first move, is getting a backup in Zach Wilson, who signed a 1-year deal. That was a very interesting move. I cannot lie. Running back Alexander Madison signed a 1-year deal. Wide receiver Dwayne Eskridge re-signed with the team. Nick Westbrook signed a 2-year, $6.5 million deal with $3.2 million guaranteed. A big one was getting Liam Eichenberg re-signed with the team. That was a big one.
That was
Tyrell Dotson re-signed in a 2-year deal. Jonka's going to like this one. Artie Burns signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. And those are just some of the names. But How do you guys feeling about the offseason from the Dolphins so far?
Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I mean, obviously, I do think that one of the main things from this offseason so far, early free agency, it's got to be the reconstruction of these contracts, though. I mean, we're talking about Armstead, Terran Armstead. We don't even know exactly if he's going to retire or not. No one in the building even knows his future with the Dolphins. So I'm going to go on his way to take a veteran's minimum. Definitely big for him. Love the Dotson move. The guy led the team in interceptions with 3 as a linebacker, basically. So we got key guys returning as well as, players in Terran, understanding the situation. But also, I think the biggest part about this, the losses from free agency. Barrios is gone. We let a few guys leave, basically walk out. Javon Holland, of course, walked off away into the Big Apple. I know we're going to be talking about it pretty much soon. But for the signings itself, I think the biggest thing that'll probably be a big talking point for the next few months for no reason at all will be the Zach Wilson signing. Single year in Denver. He had some impressive tape. But also I do remind everyone, it's a backup role for a year. This isn't he's going to be able to start throughout the season. He may not even see the field in the regular season at all for the Miami Dolphins. And again,
season, yes, but regular season, no.
Yes, exactly. So, and again, depends how good the O-line is with Chris Greer this year, which I've seen, minimal changes. Of course, Eichenberg, why not re-sign the guy that can do 5 positions at once? Why not? I mean, why not also re-sign the guy that does about 5 different penalties in 5 different positions as well in him? The kid out of Notre Dame doesn't know how to get anything besides gold and yellow flags. But I'm telling you, though, for the Dolphins themselves, still early. But some of the signings, it's just the small pieces. It's not a big splash, but it's things that needed to happen.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh because I feel like Dolphins fans have seen this story for a long time. I mean, here comes the NFL draft now. The Dolphins have a lot of picks this year. So I feel like this is the first year with McDaniel and Greer where they have a splurge of draft picks. Here's your chance now. There's a lot of holes on this team right now. Offensive line, cornerback, safety, interior defensive line. I mean, hell, we don't even know if Calais Campbell's coming back yet. And this is a decision that's been dragging on for some time now. I'm not saying that he has to come to terms tonight and let us know whether he's gonna be back with the team or not. But I'll tell you what, he is old, yes. But I'll tell you what, he was one of Miami's best defensive players last season for a guy near in his 40s. So I think if the Dolphins lose him, they're in major trouble because they don't have a guy opposite Sealer. And again, I mean, this whole Zach Wilson signing, okay, cool. I guess was my first reaction. I mean, anybody other than Skylar Thompson, anybody other than Tyler Huntley, this McDaniel-led offense is built around Tua, and we've said this since McDaniel took over the job. So I don't think will Zach Wilson see the field during training camp? Yeah, but do I really want to see Zach Wilson in a regular season game? Hell no. Because if I'm seeing Zach Wilson in a game in September and October, that means my guy too is hurt. I mean, and I'll tell you what, and love covering Tua, have spoken to him plenty of times before, but this is the final year that he needs to get it together as well. He needs to be healthy like he was in 2023, and he needs to play all 17 games. I'm tired of this crap where he's healthy for the first 5 games of the season, and then boom, he's down for the next 3. Okay, next guy up. This if Tua goes down, this team's done.
Yeah, to build on that, bro. Like you said, they're gonna have a plethora of draft picks. If this year does not go well, and let's say these picks, this opportunity with the picks don't go well either, this team might implode. I swear to God. Because if your quarterback doesn't do what he has to do, you have Tyreek, you got Waddle, you got all these weapons. You can't fix the O-line. You can't fix the issue in the locker room. Or whatever I know there's an issue in that locker room. Don't tell me there isn't. Getting an A+ in these
of course there is.
Everything.
He's not a true leader. He's not. He wants to be everybody's buddy. I mean,
bro.
It's cute when you're 3-0 and 4-1, but then when he gets to meaningful games and you absolutely suck.
Chris Greer looking like an idiot. Stephen Ross looking like an idiot. McDaniel walking into these press conferences half high. I don't understand. Like, this team is an absolute crap show, and yet somehow we're supposed to trust these people with these draft picks and then trust Tua not to get hurt again. Yet, if I'm telling you right now, Brandon and Daniel, if they don't draft O-line and O-line only, Tua is out. Put it on guarantee.
They're definitely. I think they're definitely gonna draft O-line, but I also think they're gonna draft defensive. There's a lot of defensive holds on this team, John. Like a lot. They don't have any safeties really. I mean, I know they grabbed this guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name yet. I'm still working on it. That but like they don't. No Javon Holland. No Jordan Poyer. Who God, he was horrible last year. I'm glad he's gone. They don't have an interior defensive line opposite Zach Sealer if Calais Campbell walks away. And I mean, I will give credit to Chris Greer for signing James Daniels and Larry Borum, but I'm also not going to give him that much credit because Larry Borum, if you guys remember, Caleb Williams got sacked a whole lot last year. Larry Borum was the main reason why Caleb Williams was running for his goddamn life every single drop back.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Jalen Phillips is still like, I don't know, he's injury prone. Like, this team has so many issues.
The outside linebacker room and the edge group looks really solid if Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb can stay healthy. They have Chop Robinson. Like, I love that trio, and we don't know what's going to happen yet with Emmanuel Ogbah, but that trio with Phillips, Chubb, and Chop Robinson entering his sophomore season, I love that. I love running back Achane. Like, there's a lot of good players on this football team, but there's also a lot of holes. And this is it. I've said it a million times, and I'm not going to say it again. This is Mike McDaniel's last season to figure it out. If you have to stay up at 3 a.m. every single night and miss your kid's birthday, I don't care what you got to do, but figure it out. And the first thing should be figuring out Buffalo, because one win in 3 years against the team that you're supposed to beat.
Before you say something, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Dolphins will draft either Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas or Nick Imamawari from South Carolina. Those are the two picks. Guarantee it.
Brandon H., I'm dying to know what you have to say.
Yeah, well, first off, I'm hoping it's probably going to be Simmons out of Ohio State from offensive tackle. I think that he'd be a pretty good pickup at 13. Okay. Second off, McDaniel's first season on a losing side, below 500, and it came down to the last week. Of course, a horrible loss to the Jets, but what are you going to do when you got Pro Bowl guys out and Tua?
I will say, wait, hold on. I will say Tyreek Hill quit. That you can also say too. He definitely took
that too as well. And speaking of Tyreek Hill, I think this season also proved a little bit Jonka's point for the past 4 years. He needs Hill. Tua needs Hill. No, Tua's been the best quarterback since Dan Marino for the Dolphins, from what I understand. And then you can also push up to the fact that, I mean, how much weight can we really put on last season for the Dolphins?
A lot.
How much weight can we put?
A lot,
Tua
because Tua got hurt again because he wanted.
Not even the Tua being hurt part. It's also the idea that Bradley Chubb didn't see the field. Right. Jalen Phillips got hurt, and then you have the quarterback conundrum. Obviously, that's the biggest piece in that. But a lot of first-year guys, let alone guys who were like 10-plus years at NFL vets that are on their last few years alone as professional athletes. I'm thinking that, again, as we talk about the offseason moves from the free agency, I'm also thinking about what is the youth? What is the impact? That's why I like the Eskridge move with the wide receiver room. The wide receiver room throughout the season, especially with Waddle dealing with injuries himself and, of course, Hill with his own problems, it was basically no meat on that bone, best way to put it, at all. So I think for the Dolphins themselves, of course, I'll always be like a broken drum on this. Injuries are going to be a huge impact for the season. It's been like that for the past 2 to 3 seasons. But to say it's the last season for McDaniel to get it right, after extending him for a few years, that I have a question with. Because, again, first ever losing season.
Why do you feel that way?
First ever losing season, back-to-back trips to the playoffs. I can't even tell you the last head coach. You know what's really crazy, though? Middle of the season, I remember guys talking about, I miss Brian Flores. Did they miss starting the season 1-7 and then missing the playoffs at the end on a mediocre ending? is it just the vibe, or is it just like, oh, he's cool with the players, he's not a real leader? People talk about Justin Herbert not saying a word to his team and saying, oh, he's not a real leader. But then everyone looks at Justin Herbert on the field and what he does in the NFL is like, wow, this guy's a little proven. This guy's a little. McDaniels have gone and took the Dolphins, from my understanding, out of 3 years, 2 winning records, made it to the playoffs, and even had a chance. And again, didn't do it, but had a chance and then wanted to see in the AFC late in the year.
What happened?
I don't know much.
What happened to those 2 playoff games, though? Remember,
it happened to injuries, hypothermia, and they would go against the upcoming Super Bowl champ. Okay, I think one of them, Skylar Thompson, was that quarterback.
He was.
I'm just saying right now, it was not going to be McDaniels on thin ice. And I guarantee you, if Chris Grier comes in again, because this was honestly one of the biggest things I noticed from last season end. If Chris Grier comes in cocky again, talking about, I think you guys are more worried about the O-line than we are. I think that this team, front office-wise, will see more changes. I think McDaniels is safe. I think the guys on the field are more safe than Chris Grier at this moment.
Before we change it, bro, like
I could see that.
like for the past 4 or 5 years with this team, the one lingering problem has been the O-line, and yet they refuse to do anything about it. Every season, you see Tua. He's your bread and butter. You need to protect Tua, and yet somehow, some way, they turn a blind eye. They cover their ears or something because they're not paying attention what's on the field. I don't know if they're even at the stadium when that's happening, because I don't understand. Like, I'm a Patriots guy, but I feel Brandon's pain because Drake May just went through it this past season. If you can't protect your quarterback, there's no point of even playing the game. And yet somehow, there's some way, every offseason, every draft, every free agency, the Dolphins do not protect Tua, and you see what happens. They can't win. They can't get over the hump.
But you also, Jonka, can't pay your quarterback the amount of money that they pay Tua and have him dive headfirst into a defense. I mean, you just can't.
Well, don't make him get in that situation. Don't make him get in that situation.
Or maybe learn how to simply slide.
I agree with that. That was for last season, but
maybe learn how to simply slide. First of all, they weren't even going to win that game anyway because they couldn't even stop James Cook the entire night, and Josh Allen was making them look like a total fool the entire first half. I was at that game. That game was over at the end of the first quarter. That game was over. Our defense was tired. Josh Allen was scrambling like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, I see both sides. Don't put him in that position, but you could also learn to slide. So I see.
Hey, he did jiu-jitsu. He did jiu-jitsu now. It's not like he's not trying.
Yeah, he also learned how to fall.
Yeah. All right, Jonka, we're going to talk about your Patriots. This is your time. Joshua Dobbs, 2-year, $8 million deal with $3.8 million fully guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Hollins signed a 2-year, $8.4 million deal that has a max value of $10.4. Tight end Austin Hooper re-signed in a 1-year, $5 million deal.
Love it.
And safety Marcus Epps signed a 1-year deal worth up to $4.4 million. Talk to me about your Patriots.
Yeah, I'm loving it right now. We're fixing up the defense. We've added some O-line. We added Milton Williams from the Eagles. We made him the highest paid defensive tackle in league history. So that's good for me. We needed a guy to protect it. We've let go of some guys that weren't a fit. That's all right with me. We signed Harold Landry. We signed Robert Spillane from the Raiders. Carlton Davis to pair with Christian Gonzalez. So now we have 2 really good corners. Morgan Moses on the offensive tackle. Like I said, Joshua Dobbs, Chris Tonga, Mac Hollins, Austin Hooper, like you said, Jaden Hawkins, safety, Kevon Chasen, defensive end. Bro, we got so many guys. I'm loving this. Oh, and then the Garrett Bradbury, the center from the Vikings. I'm loving it. They're focusing on what the problem is. The defense was not good enough because they knew that they were just going to target Christian Gonzalez. And then the other side was complete and utter crap. And so get Carlton Davis, you got that problem. Well, I think we need is a safety or another safety. We need a left tackle for sure. That's like the one thing we need, like left tackle. Secure that. Oh my God, we're dangerous. And there's rumors, obviously, with Stephon Diggs. For everybody that doesn't know,
He did have
with the Patriots. There's rumors that there is contract negotiations happening, but as of right now, that's just rumors. Amari Cooper still hasn't been signed. Keenan Allen hasn't been signed. Amari Cooper hasn't been signed. Buddy, we still have like 80 million left.
Ooh! And that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, as a Dolphins fan, Jets fan, and Bills fan, we can't be shocked at what the New England Patriots are doing because they had a lot of cap space. So we knew coming into this offseason, they were going to get a lot of players via free agency. They still have the upcoming 2025 draft. So there's a lot. I mean, New England could possibly even top the Dolphins and kind of make it competitive because since Tua's arrival, New England hasn't beaten the Dolphins once yet. So,
nope.
Baltimore Ravens made 2 interesting signings. They got Cooper Rush from my Dallas Cowboys, old faithful, old reliable as a backup, and wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, where I feel like the Ravens are a graveyard for wide receivers at the ending of their career.
I like those moves. I think I always say the AFC North is one of the toughest divisions. I think the Ravens are a playoff team. I mean, the question is same with as we spoke about the Bills. Can they get over the hump and beat the Chiefs come playoff time? I mean, I guess that's really the only thing I really have for it. You know, I think Lamar Jackson's a hell of a quarterback, hell of a player. I just don't know if the signing of a veteran guy like DeAndre Hopkins is going to get you over the top. And the Dolphins play them this season, so I guess it'll be a good taste to see that. But I don't know if a DeAndre Hopkins who just finished last season playing with Mahomes is going to lead you to the Super Bowl. So I guess we'll see. We'll see and find out.
I believe solely in the simple fact that defense wins championships. I think that these moves don't really push them anywhere in the AFC. Again, as Brandon did say, a playoff team. They've been a playoff team.
Right.
But they haven't been a contending team. I haven't seen Lamar Jackson really push himself during the playoffs. Of course, he's had, wins pick up here and there season by season. Of course, MVP guy, unbelievable talent. But Derrick Henry's there. Flowers is there. Bateman there. They got pieces offensively, but defensively, how do they match up, though? They can barely stop guys on the run. So my biggest question right now in this free agency, as we keep on going through, especially as we mentioned before, draft is within a month's time. What is going to happen with the pass rush? Are we going to see guys attractive to Baltimore defensively? Who exactly can they bring in with the cap space they currently have right now? And let alone that division itself, it is known for its ruthlessness, its toughness, its physicality. How physical have the Ravens been since their last Super Bowl? That is something they need to answer with themselves, with Harbaugh himself. They got to figure it out fast.
The Cincinnati Bengals did a good job in re-signing what is important to them. And what's important to them was Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Mike Gesicki. But other than that, not much has really changed with Cincinnati.
Well, that's because 85% of their salary cap is going towards three guys, which is not Gesicki, but Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Look, I mean, same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're a playoff team. They weren't a playoff team last year because of that defense, but I think a healthy Joe Burrow is a very scary Joe Burrow and one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. Jamar Chase, I mean, record-setting deal. I think he's earned every single penny from LSU to the end of the league. He hasn't disappointed once. T. Higgins, I'm finally happy that the Bengals decided to, instead of just franchise tagging him, deciding to give him the money that he's worth as a wide receiver too. So I'm actually looking forward to watching Cincinnati next season, and I'm really curious to see how that all plays out. But if they want to compete in what Brandon alluded to, a very tough AFC North, they got to fix that defense, which they did bring in a new defensive coordinator.
If you like betting, take the over. If you like betting, take the over. It'll be the same thing since last year. I'm not even that. Big names retiring early in their careers in Cincinnati on the defensive line. Look, I think that honestly, this entire draft class should be dedicated just to their secondary. Their corner is super weak. I don't know if you guys ever seen the Hard Knocks in season where they did basically that entire AFC North. Every single time they panned over Zach Taylor, he looked frustrated every single time his defense took the field.
His offense is scoring 35 points a game, but his defense is coughing up like 35, 40 points a game.
Exactly that. Joe Burrow, basically an MVP type of year. His best career numbers, passing yards, efficiency, quarterback rating, gone to waste. And this season will go on to waste as well if they don't fix it quickly this free agency.
Yeah, before you go, sorry, Daniel.
No, you're good.
I agree with Brandon H, bro, because sure, you signed Jamar Chase, obviously best receiver in football after he won the Triple Crown. You signed T. Higgins after franchise tagging him, but at this point, we all asking the question, like the whole problem this whole season was the defense. You waste all this money signing players, but you don't sign Trey Hendrickson, which was I think the most sacks in the year, the best defensive end of the season, but technically, and you don't sign him. And apparently he's how do you say this? He's deciding whether or not to take a year off because he wants his money, or else he's not going to play. And the Bengals are just spending money on receivers when clearly the whole reason you couldn't win games is because your defense was giving up more points than you could score. So I don't understand. I would have kept T. Higgins on the franchise tag for 1 year, promised him the next year they're going to give him the contract, use that money to sign Trey Hendrickson so you have your defensive end, then use the draft to improve your defense, and then maybe you go on from there. But you spent way too much money. Now you're going to be in like cap hell, and now we got to see what happens. The Cincinnati Bengals are not a well-run organization. I hate it.
Cleveland Browns, they got Kenny Pickett, who they required in a trade. Myles Garrett and Malik Collins and Jerome Baker. Those were their biggest signings.
I mean, and it's funny too because I thought Myles Garrett wanted out. I mean, he specifically said, "I want to go to a winning team." So again, which tells me in today's sport, it's not about how the team's doing; it's about this.
Yep.
And I think the Cleveland Browns. I think all four of us can agree here, or three. It's the worst team in that division by far. They have a lot of issues. Deshaun Watson with now his Achilles. Now he had a major setback. I don't think he's going to be ready come week 1 of the 2025 season. They were even talking about drafting Miami's Cam Ward, who, by the way, had an excellent pro day this afternoon. I mean, I guess you can say kudos for keeping probably the best edge rusher in all the sport in Myles Garrett, former number 1 draft pick. But I just think that whole situation is very comical because I thought he wanted out. I mean, he specifically made it known.
I think what enticed him to stay
the money.
Was that they're probably going to draft either Shador, Travis Hunter, or Abdul Carter, and I think it's going to be Abdul Carter because just imagine that. I don't even want to say it because I don't even want to put it into the universe. If I have to go up against that Abdul Carter and.
But who's going to be their quarterback?
I don't care.
Kenny Pickett, baby.
That thing, bro.
But you have to win. But you have to score. You have to put the ball in the end zone to win.
Bro,
I mean,
look, if Brock Purdy can get in there,
you try scrambling left, you scramble right.
Brock Purdy going where? Cleveland?
If Brock Purdy can get himself to a Super Bowl, I'm pretty positive Matt Moore can come out of retirement and still help out Cleveland. So
Matt Moore, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, Dolphin legend.
Remember when he got absolutely crushed in that 2017 Wild Card
Yes,
Steelers?
Bro, that was murder.
I think the guy came off the left side of the edge, and Matt Moore was completely looking the other way, and that was
guys. This is an interesting team. I think this is a very interesting team that we're about to talk about, and I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, they signed a 2-year deal for Mason Rudolph, but we all have heard the rumors. We've all heard the rumors that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Steelers. Then they've got Kenneth Gainwell, DK Metcalf, and they got Darius Slay on the defensive end. I think they're a very interesting team to look at.
8 wins.
Wow.
8 wins. Just from that roster, just from you just saying, what is it, Rudolph returning to be a Steeler?
Rudolph.
And potentially Aaron Rodgers. And I understand Aaron's more towards the door right now in his career.
Yeah.
8 wins.
Why are we? I just don't understand why we're so obsessed with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's at the back end of his career.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, we weren't obsessing about Tony Romo when he was at the back end of his career. Why are we obsessing over like?
Hey, I have a soft spot for Tony. Relax.
We have a soft spot here. That's a fantasy football legend here. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, bro. Come on. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers here. Don't come in with the guns blazing like that, bro.
I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers organization can take another, how do you say, news front with another drama-filled Aaron Rodgers. Last season was with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, George Pickens. Like, try to start a season with no drama.
You want to talk about toxicness? Put DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the same play, on the same field.
Ole Miss versus Georgia. Who wins?
Here's another
Top.
interesting team. The Houston Texans getting Braxton Berrios, Christian Kirk, Justin Watson. Let's see. Ronald Darby and C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Gonna win in the division. Small moves. Makes CJ really, really happy.
I'm actually not disappointed that the Dolphins decided not to re-sign Braxton Berrios because this means now more Malik Washington. And I think Brandon and I saw he made a lot of exciting plays in training camp and at the end of last season. So I'm not really – I mean, he's also coming off –
I don't know, Brandon. A lot of girls are going to be upset. They're not going to be seeing Alex Earl around that often.
I mean, I don't want to curse, but I don't give a shit. Okay? Like, I don't care about that. All right. Like, but no, I'm excited to see Braxton, probably get more opportunities there. I mean, I had to. Like, I'm sorry, but if Alex Earl is not putting money inside of my pockets, I don't give two damns about her. I really don't. And also, funny story, now that we're on the topic about her, she bumped into me at the Sunday night game against the Bills when I was going to get food, and she didn't even say excuse me or sorry. So screw Alex Earl. She's rude. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate tonight about that, but no, she kind of said excuse me, but it was a very low. I really did not hear her. She also had a lot of drink, so.
As long as it wasn't Alex Cooper.
Definitely was not Alex Cooper.
Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones is a Colt. They also got Neville Gallimore and Tavarius Ward.
I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson. I mean, I guess that's really the only thing you can say.
I'm telling you right now, as a Florida Gator who went to the school when AR was probably the best player in college football at the time, I think this is a light under the fire right now for Richardson, this move. Because obviously Daniel Jones, he wants to be a starter. He believes he could be a starter anywhere in the NFL. And there's a lot of people that are saying the same exact thing. There's playing style, the way they move with the ball out of the pocket, they roll out. It's a lot of similarities. Unfortunately, at the same time, their quarterback decisions are also very similar. So this is going to be a really fun season to see that. I think that this is going to be maybe the second time we've seen Anthony Richardson deal with the quarterback issue where you had Joe Flacco bring in. You're like, oh, is he going to be the guy? And now it's Daniel Jones. This is a real, man, AR might not even be back on this team after his very good contract, let alone the end of the next year. So this is probably the biggest move, I think, for free agency in that division because it might change the tide a little bit. How good will the Colts be under a Daniel Jones hierarchy? That I'm really curious to see.
Let's also not forget Daniel Jones won the Giants a playoff game. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people may like forget that, but to Brandon's point, this might be the end of I mean, it's going to be a tough competition come training camp, But if Daniel Jones is balling out, watch out because he's probably coming for Anthony Richardson's job.
It's AR. AR is going to start, bro. Daniel Jones, I'm sorry.
He pulled himself out of a game last year and literally told the local media after the game that he was tired.
There you go.
Yeah, a mobile quarterback, mind you.
Right.
A mobile quarterback said I was
quarterback.
tired.
So he calls himself.
I seen this man run 70 yards, go on to the next play for a 2-point conversion, do a 360 in the air, roll out with a defense. The highlight reel doesn't make any sense compared to his comments. That's all I'm saying. Either he aged 10 years in like a year, it doesn't make any sense.
You guys think the Jacksonville Jaguars are pretty much staying the same? I mean, they got Nick Mullins, Hunter Long, and from my Cowboys, Jordan Lewis.
Hey, Dolphin legend Hunter Long. How about that?
They're another team.
I think they should just move on from Trevor Lawrence and just restart again.
I don't know if they can, though, because they paid him a lot of money.
They did. So they're going to have to deal with it. Or
What they should restart, I think, is the defense. Because I remember looking at this team. I looked at the pieces with Lazard and my apologies, not Lazard.
Kirk Ridley.
Oh, Davis. Yeah. Ridley, Davis, Brown, which I got from LSU. Like, they got pieces at receiver. It's just that defensively, how good are they? You know what I mean? I mean, because, again, they're obviously going to be playing like 2 games a year in London at this point with the NFL's trajectory internationally. Right. So do you want, like, how many players are going to be attracted to the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency? Fortunately, they've been able to make some new moves with a new head coach. But that's the thing, though. I don't see them as a playoff team. I don't think any of the moves they made so far can push my thought to think they even get close in the division this year in the AFC South.
I don't know. I feel like they just need – I think they're going to get the guy from Georgia, Jalen Walker, the defensive end. Then they're gonna get they're gonna try to move up in the first round, maybe trade some lower picks, and get Will Johnson from Michigan to increase that defense, and then maybe in like 4th or 5th round get a receiver to pair with Brian Thomas, who had a great rookie year by the way. So they have a star receiver already, and maybe they re-sign in free agency Keenan Allen or somebody that can help. Maybe, I can see that happening. Maybe they'll be a decent team, maybe 7 or 8 wins, but nothing else than that.
Tennessee Titans also another team. They got Van Jefferson, Lorenzo Carter, and Xavier Woods. They're also another team that's kind of, I don't know. They're another team that's like,
No, they're because they're the first overall pick.
I know what's gonna happen. I know Cam Ward is gonna go to Tennessee. But I'm telling you right now, I will lose my mind if I have to see on the sideline on CBS, Kevin Harlan talking about, there you see Will Levis and Cam Ward passing each other the ball, real tight quarterback battle because Tennessee doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I will flip out. Now, I don't want to say career suicide, and the guy hasn't played a single snap in the NFL, but if Cam Ward goes to Tennessee, it is a career suicide. Wow. The move they made in the free agency, I do not like. Yeah. The trajectory of this team, I really hate. And to even give you an idea of how bad it's gone, you got rid of Derrick Henry, didn't get much in return.
Yep.
You figured out a way of having a playoff team, a consistent playoff team with a good head coach, scrap all that away. And they find themselves in a hole where they're frankly will be the bottom 3 worst team in the NFL this upcoming season. Cam Ward or not, they will be horrible. You do not want to see them at 1 p.m. And I guarantee you, they're going to be playing the Atlanta Falcons on a Thursday night game that not a soul will want to watch. So I'm telling you, it's going to be rough. And this free agency, it's going to get even worse.
If the Titans are going to want any chance with Cam Ward, you're going to have to give him weapons. Calvin Ridley is not going to be enough. So you're going to have to draft Cam Ward, get him a bunch of good receivers, and the defense, you're going to have to leave that for free agency or next year's draft. Because if you're going to go defensive first and not give him any weapons, then you're throwing him into the fire, and that's not good for team morale or even Cam Ward especially. No matter how confident or cocky he is, like no quarterback is going to be able to deal with no weapons. So unfortunately, that's the situation when you are first overall pick. You end up on the worst team in the league. So I don't like the system, but that's how it is.
This is a team I personally like, and it's the Denver Broncos. They got Evan Ingram and Dre Greenlaw. I'm really liking, and with Bo Nick, I really do like
Go,
the
go, go, baby.
trajectory
Go,
that the
go, go.
Broncos are going into. I really do like their trajectory.
I think the Denver Broncos have one of the best defenses in all of football.
They do.
And I think they're the team right now that's closest to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't think a lot of people would. I mean, if you looked at it, look, Bo Nix had a hell of a rookie season that all four of us can agree that we did not see that happening.
Yeah.
And so if you just give them a little bit more weapons, this team, I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC West come 2025, but I will say they are the closest right now to knocking off Patrick Mahomes.
Bro, give him Tyler Warren. Oh my God!
And where is, if anybody has Tankathon open right now, where's Denver picking?
Oh,
Good question.
I'll tell you.
Should be
The
middle.
reason why I asked is because they probably could get Tyler Warren depending on.
Here's the draft. Here it is. All right. Round 1, the Broncos have the 20th pick.
Okay, so I mean they could even pull off a situation where they can trade up,
They could.
grab someone. But I agree with Daniel here. I like what they're doing. They just Pat Surtain just won Defense Player of the Year. Like I like what they're building.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always going to say we scored 70 points on them, but I definitely like what Denver's building.
I think at some point it's going to pay off.
I do think they do need a little bit more weapons. I think Sutton isn't enough. I think they can try to go for Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, maybe an experienced receiver. That would help significantly. And then maybe I think their pass rush needs to be a little bit better. But overall, that team is on a trajectory up, and I can't wait to see. And I've been telling you guys, I've been high on Bogo. Don't let my boy go. I'm telling you.
All right, we talked Kansas City Chiefs here. I mean, they signed Gardner Minshew. They got Brandon's favorite here, Bailey Zapp, Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. Not really much from the Chiefs. It looks like they're set to do with a Pat Riley special of let's run it back.
Yeah, I mean, and also Travis. I mean, I think the big news with all that is Travis Kelce looks like he's coming back for next season. So, listen, as long as if Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are there, I'm never counting out the Kansas City Chiefs. And you best believe they're going to be extra motivated after getting their ass whipped on national television in front of the globe. So, as long as if Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, they can do whatever they got to do. Free agency and the NFL draft, but I'm not sleeping on them at all whatsoever.
Xavier Worthy is gonna have a good sophomore season, and they're getting back Rashee Rice, so they're gonna have.
They're hoping to get back Rashee Rice. I think he's got some legal issues going on right now.
Like more legal issues?
No, I'm saying with the car crash incident that happened.
Still, bro, that's been since the beginning of last season.
Yeah, but I didn't see a report that he was like reinstated to come back or start practicing or. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to falsely accuse anybody here, but isn't it Xavier Worthy going through something right now?
He's suing his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever.
Because he said he was assaulted because his ex-girlfriend broke his gaming setup and then pulled his hair out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to talk about any off the field issues, but I just think as long as if this team has Patrick Mahomes under center, I mean, I think Travis Kelce coming back for next season says a lot. I don't think he's ready to hang up the cleats just yet. So I don't know. We'll see though. There's a lot of teams that I'm looking forward to. I can tell you right now, the Chiefs, after getting absolutely embarrassed like that, they're one of my teams that I'm definitely interested to watch.
Okay.
Las Vegas Raiders, they got Geno Smith, your Dolphins, Raheem Mostert, and, of course, Max Crosby. You really think Geno's going to do anything in Las Vegas?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think people understand how good Geno Smith is. I don't think people understand how fast Pete Carroll can switch things both on the NFL and college circuit. I don't think people understand what is going on in the desert of Las Vegas. I truly do believe, again, I love Denver. I think Denver's going to be a great team, obviously playoff team. I think the Raiders are not going to push themselves in this division to beat out Kansas City or Denver, but I do see them taking a huge lead compared to what we saw last year. Last year was terrible, admissible, like just something. Forget the year, scratch it off. There was no Gardner Minshew in Raiders colors in black and silver. There was no thing going on there. I think that the Raider Nation's having a little bit of a revamp. Like John Gruden's back in the media. Pete Carroll somehow still coaching. This is going to be an interesting team. I think Geno is honestly one of the better quarterbacks, a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I honestly do believe the offense will be there defensively. The question is the youth of this team. And of course, they do have some pieces in the draft to use. How young and inexperienced will this team be defensively, and how will that impact them? That is my biggest questions for that roster. Through free agency, though, they've done everything right. Good head coach hire, good quarterback fix-up, and they got their guy long-term.
When I think of Geno Smith, I just have to play this real quick. Do you remember this?
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
That when I mean, listen, I think it's obviously a huge upgrade to what they had in recent past. I'm excited, I guess is the word I'll use, to see what Pete Carroll can do. See if he can change that. Him, Tom Brady, and I'm really curious to see if they're able to change, because doesn't Tom Brady have like a minority ownership?
Yep.
Yeah, so like, I'm sure he's definitely given his two cents as well. So I'm excited to see if Pete Carroll is able to change that culture. Another name that I'm surprised he decided to stay was defensive end Max Crosby, but of course he got record-setting money, so I'm not shocked there.
I'm curious to know what you guys think about the Los Angeles Chargers. They got Taylor Heineke. Obviously, they have Justin Herbert, Najee Harris, Jalen Reagor, Khalil Mack, Denzel Perryman. I'm interested to know what you guys think about the Chargers.
Loving it. Loving it.
They had a great first year under Harbaugh, and then absolutely imploded in that playoff game against Houston. I'm excited to see if they're able to take the next step. And when I say the next step, I mean win a playoff game and go further. But I'm here for the would you rather have taken Tua or would you rather have taken Justin Herbert? I mean, I love talking about that. So I don't know. I will say, based off what I've seen, probably Justin Herbert, because the kid can stay healthy. But
I think they got the wrong people at the wrong time. Khalil, if you had Mac 5-6 years ago, yes, awesome. Yeah, Najee Harris with Justin Herbert and on a Harbaugh offense, right player, wrong place, wrong time. Obviously, the receivers are a huge part of why Herbert really found a lot of success. He's gotten finally a receiver one. Still, with what? Alt and who else on the O-line? Wrong place, wrong time, wrong generation for Chargers Nation. These will be insane jerseys to have in your closet. But I'm going to put it out of left field. Not a guarantee, but definitely something to look after. There's a lot of frauds in Los Angeles, okay? And I'm not talking about the Clippers. I'm really thinking that the Chargers will come out from the year, and again, Herbert will be Herbert, but the team is still going to lose games. You play Kansas City twice. You play Denver twice. Have anyone seen their schedule in the AFC? It's not pretty, and they really love them. The NFL loves them. So I'm telling you, this will not be a good year for them. Free agency-wise, they've done a lot of good things, but the pieces will not mesh. I do not believe they will mesh.
I think with the addition of Najee Harris and then bringing back, obviously, Mike Williams, I think this team is going to be better because they're going to keep the ball and keep Herbert safe with running the ball, which prevents any interceptions and it improves. I think the O-line is going to be better with whatever new additions they're going to get in the draft, and plus Joe Alt is coming back because he did get injured, so that O-line is going to be good. And then if you're going to keep running the ball, hey, we all know if you run the ball, you run the clock, you keep the ball out of the opposition's hands, and you score touchdowns.
Run the dang ball.
That's if they
All
run
you
the
gotta
dang
do.
ball.
And I think Harbaugh, what he did in Michigan, proves that.
But
What
Justin
he did-
Herbert's arm, though, I mean,
that's the secret weapon, though. When you want to add an extra guy in the box, all right, I'm gonna throw it over you. You want to have one guy back? I'll give it to Najee or give it to J.K. Dobbins. That's the whole
because
point.
I would imagine single man coverage. Justin Herbert's throwing that ball deep because we've all seen Justin Herbert's arm. We're not stupid. He has a really, really, really good arm.
And then you got Len McConkey, who's had a great season. May God have mercy on all our souls if somehow Tetairoa McMillan falls to the Chargers. I'm letting everybody know right now.
So, due to the time, we're going to finish the night on the NFC East. Starting off with my Dallas Cowboys. They got Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Dante Fowler Jr., they re-signed. They gave a franchise tag on Osa Odigizua, Solomon Thomas, Kenneth Murray Jr.,
A lot of veterans.
Lamb. Let's see, C.J. Goodwin, Marquise Bell, and re-signed Kevontae Turpin. For me, it still doesn't answer the question of you need another offensive threat because the teams know you just got CeeDee Lamb, so you're just going to cover CeeDee Lamb, double him, and then, all right, who does Dak have to throw to? So, I mean, the running back position, they got rid of what was his name, man? I'm blanking what his name was.
Vaughn?
What happened?
Is it Vaughn? No,
bro.
Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle.
Rico Dell, yeah.
And they replaced him with bringing in Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. I'm just going to have to see what they can do. I mean, that's my answer for that. But for the rest of the team, they really haven't.
I'm curious to see if this Dak Prescott, Brian Schottenheimer, if this relationship's going to work. I mean, Dak Prescott is, a $16 million per year quarterback. He's probably already requesting things that maybe Brian Schottenheimer doesn't want. There's like Jonka earlier tonight talked about there's problems in the Dolphins locker room. I would love to know the problems that are going on in the Dallas Cowboys locker room.
I mean, we got Micah Parsons beefing on X with DeMarcus Lawrence because DeMarcus Lawrence decided to leave Dallas
I saw that.
and go to Seattle and just say, yeah, I was never winning a Super Bowl in Dallas.
I love that, though.
Micah Parsons. I got to respect Micah Parsons. He straight up say, hey, bro, like, what's your problem? Like, you were inside this locker room. Like, don't speak down on us like that.
Nothing makes me laugh more than when two players who make millions of dollars just beef on Twitter. Like, X, excuse me. Like, come on, man.
But yeah, I just it is what it is with this.
They're
team.
also in the same division as the defending Super Bowl champion and a very, very good team in Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. I mean, if you were to ask me 4 or 5 years ago, yes, Dallas should be at the top. Now, in 2025, it's going to be between, I think, the Eagles and Washington.
Yeah, and because talking about the Giants, I mean, DeVito, they got Jameis Winston now. They did get Darius Slayton and Chauncey Golston, but Javon Holland.
Yep, Javon Holland did it.
That's about it for the Giants.
They're gonna be a draft team for sure. They're gonna probably pick up another quarterback or maybe Travis Hunter. If they pick up Travis Hunter, that gives more weapons to whoever's gonna be the quarterback. And then maybe they try for a quarterback in the next draft.
So assuming they would get Travis Hunter, are they rolling the dice on Jameis Winston, or are they gonna try to shoot for the moon and try to get Aaron Rodgers? Because I've heard his name has been floated around the Giants organization too.
Yeah. I mean, he's already living in New York, so I mean,
Brady's looking at me like I'm stupid over here.
Again, I think the reports have said that Giants are not interested at all in Aaron. I think the Jameis Winston move is.
Well, yeah. I would agree on that too.
Yeah. Again, as I said before earlier in the podcast, he has more of a step out the door than he does on a team. But when I look at the Giants, though, I think that, again, because we talked about Cam Ward, it would be a career suicide if he goes to Tennessee. But I'll tell you what, it might even be the best thing that happens to New York if Abdul Carter drops to them and they can actually do something defensively for themselves. Because I think, and I say these many times, I might as well put it on my tombstone. It usually is never the quarterback with most of these teams. It's usually never the quarterback. The Browns have gone through, I don't know how many quarterbacks. The Giants have gone through so many issues. But I tell you what, you watch them on defense and you immediately can tell, yeah, this team is looking to get a lottery pick. The Giants can do something defensively, make a big signing, maybe, again, a big draft pick. Abdul Carter might be available. Who knows? Maybe Travis Hunter comes in and he wants to do that little dual thing a little bit with Jameis Winston. Hell of a combo. Maybe they might be a little entertaining to watch. Maybe I might turn on my TV. But besides that, for the Giants themselves, they have to go into free agency defensive-minded. I mean, again, if you're looking for a quarterback of the future, there's a lot of good options this year. But I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for a future, maybe we go defense.
There is a thing with the NFC East that both Cowboys and the Giants have been mentioned for my backup quarterback, Joe Milton III.
Yep.
That we're asking for a third-round pick. I don't know. I feel like that might be a little high. But if the Giants want to do that, do they want to compromise a third-round pick right now with the way the team is already set up? I don't think they would. But if they did, then they're able to save a draft pick and get Travis Hunter or whatever they need. So,
talking about the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles, they gave the bank account to Saquon Barkley, extending him. They picked up A.J. Dillon. They signed my boy, Josh Uche. And, I mean, really looking at the names, that's about it. I mean, the Eagles lost some names on defense.
The Eagles lost a lot of guys on defense. They lost a lot of coaches. This is going to be a team to watch if they're going to – I mean, this could even be Washington's division next year. Because we see every year the NFC, it's always flip and flop, you know. But they lost Kellen Moore. They lost a lot on defense. They lost like 85% of their starting defense.
That was my question was like, all right, so is Philadelphia's method, we win a Super Bowl and then that's it, we don't care, and just next year let's not, you know.
Well, the problem is that it's same with when the Florida Panthers won their first Stanley Cup, you just can't afford to pay everybody and keep all the guys that you want to keep.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, final team that we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to lie to you, this team's looking real good, real damn good. And I'm talking about the Washington Commanders. They got Jaden Daniels, re-signed Marcus Mariota. They got Noah Brown, Michael Gallup. So it's just funny. Like, let's just make fun of Daniel. Let's just get all the former Cowboys and just put them on the Commanders now. KJ Osborne, Debo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Laramie Tunsil. Who else we got here? Let's see. Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner.
The veteran Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, this is a scary team, guys.
They addressed the issues they needed to have.
They really did.
Their defense was not up to par. Obviously what we saw against the Eagles.
Listen, before we close tonight's show, I think there's really 4 teams that have a legit shot at the Super Bowl next season. You guys are probably not going to agree with me. Washington's not one of them. They're close, but they're not one of them. Ready? Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Bengals. I know you guys aren't going to agree with me on probably three-fourths of 70. Right. I know you guys aren't going to agree on 75% of those names, but I would.
Bengals.
We don't need to talk about the NFC South. We don't even need to talk about the NFC North.
I feel like Brandon wants to. Are you okay, Brandon?
How many AFC teams did you say in that?
4.
And how many teams you said?
4.
So the AFC is gonna win this Super. Got it. Got the AFC. No one the NFC. Got it.
So you're saying the Rams don't have a chance? The Lions with all those.
I mean, like there are teams that are gonna go from the NFC. Obviously, I don't know if it's gonna be the Rams. I don't know if it's gonna be the Lions. I don't know if it's gonna be Green Bay. But whomever, if it's Packers and Chiefs, let's say, Kansas City's winning. If it's Cincinnati and the Rams again, like we saw, it's
Rams are winning.
the Bengals.
No,
I'm gonna be frankly honest. Because
If it's
I
Rams,
said it before, it usually isn't the quarterback. The defense usually wins the championships. We saw that with the Philadelphia Kansas City.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest. The moves that Washington has made defensively is scary.
They're definitely.
We don't even have to talk about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is just like, the cover of the book. The bulk of the chapters.
Hey, but Jonta says I don't like to judge a quarterback off of one good season, so I'm gonna wait and hold back a little.
No,
bit.
I'm not. I'm just saying,
Yeah, but it's also Jonka. Like,
yeah, true. He does move Jaden Daniels around a lot. But what I'm saying is,
it's Jaden Daniels, bro.
Hey, since LSU,
I was telling you in LSU, watch this guy.
The guy was talking about Jaden Daniels since his Arizona State recruitment. I'm telling you, again, the AFC, year by year, I'm getting less motivated by the AFC. You know what I mean? Like, sure, really? Kansas City goes back-to-back champs, sure. But Baltimore, what? I'm gonna be moved. I'm gonna be moved by Lamar.
No, but look at the names that have come out of that conference: Josh Allen,
names,
Mahomes.
That's about it.
Jackson, Joe Burrow.
That's all we got. All we got is names. Every playoff story I hear, it's, oh my god, look at the Commanders going through. Check it out, man. Look at the Eagles going through. That's all I hear is names. It's a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes spotlight. It's a Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I never hear anyone talk about, wow, man, the Baltimore Ravens are such a sound team as a number one seed in the AFC. They are regular season merchants. Unless they get a good defense, I really don't want to hear it. And for the Bills, unless they get to the AFC Championship game and beat out the Kansas City Chiefs, they haven't even gotten a Super Bowl yet in their franchise. I don't want to hear about them. If there's a team I really think is going to be winning it.
So name me your 4 teams who you think are going to Super Bowl 60.
In the sense of contenders, I still have the Lions out there. Again, what we saw against Washington, that was just, again, Jonko was saying implosion. I would say they were walking towards their own grave. They killed themselves in that one. I still think Detroit's going to be physical. Of course, is Philadelphia going to be the same? I think offensively, the returning pieces make it very interesting. I think Philadelphia, you can't look away from them. Hard to look away from them. And then if you're looking from the AFC side, again, Kansas City, they only lost, 2 games throughout that entire year, and one of them happened to be in the Super Bowl. So got to look their way. And maybe, just maybe, you can go and put a limb out for Buffalo. But I tell you what, Cincinnati shouldn't even see top 2 in that division. And frankly,
not even top 5.
Unless Baltimore does something where I'm like, wow, this team is going to lock up Josh Allen. It's going to lock up Patrick Mahomes and won't be losing within the last drive. Then I can see something, because I think the Baltimore Ravens have it offensively, but defensively, can they stick their throat out? Can they? I just can't see it.
Brandon L., after that, I don't know what type of statement that was. I have a voucher here for Total Wine. You may need some. It says, hurry. Offers valid to 3/24 to 4/20, which is what you just stated. 4/20 is a good date from what you just said. So you might want to, I'll drop this off to you so you can use some of this wine here.
But explain to me what I said that was so, like, what?
4 AFC teams, and they could all win the Super Bowl.
The Bengals. That's
okay,
it. That's
correct me if I'm wrong, but you 3 this past January were like, oh, the Lions. Yo, Dan Campbell. Oh, my God. What a freaking genius he is.
You said Cincinnati.
Hold on. And I was the only one on this podcast. That said, if the Eagles and the Lions face off in the playoffs, the Eagles are not only going to beat the Lions, the Eagles are going to expose the Lions. And guess what? We didn't even get to see that matchup because the Lions lost to the Washington Commanders.
Yes, that is true. but that was also a more realistic take. What you just said about the Bengals.
But why are we
Willy Wonka land?
Why are we? But why are you so? The Bengals were in the Super Bowl not too long ago.
I'm willing to put a free pan con bistec.
They weren't in. They almost won the game. Do you remember T. Higgins' catch in the third quarter? I mean, they were up by.
Odell Beckham Jr. was still running routes.
I don't want to even hear Odell Beckham Jr.
caught a catch and then tore his ACL.
He was away. I don't even want to hear Odell Beckham. He's lucky. I'm not even gonna say it right now.
The fact that the NFC East is not realizing that the Eagles have 20 draft picks in 2 years is scary to me. And if they draft well,
listen, I'm not saying
having a dynasty. Period.
I'm just giving you my 4 AFC teams that have a legit shot at winning the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that the Eagles are not going. I'm not saying the Rams aren't going. But I tell you right now, if it's Chiefs and Rams in the Super Bowl, hypothetically, what I saw last year from Kansas City, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not doing it.
Rams are winning that game, bro. Rams are winning that game.
Jonka,
the Rams gave the Eagles a run for their money. Bro, come on.
Remember, I don't want to.
You said free pan con bistec, so what were you betting on that? Because I'm interested.
Oh, that the Bengals were not going to be a top 5 team.
Okay, we'll bet on that. I'll take that, bro.
Wait, not a top 5 team so you don't even think they would even get one of the 3 wild card spots?
They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it.
That's bold. Well, I'm coming to your restaurant tomorrow anyway, so I guess tomorrow you.
I don't know. What you said was pretty bold.
You guys are acting like the Bengals weren't just in the goddamn Super Bowl.
You said contender.
They are. Why did they?
They're not a contender, bro.
If they're not a contender, why would you re-sign T. Higgins? I
want something clarified for me. When you say
I don't know either.
Are you saying top 4 in the AFC or top 4 overall to make the Super Bowl?
Because you were like Super Bowl.
No, yes, they're in my Super Bowl.
There's no way. I'm willing to put 10.
Remember, again, I don't want to be that little jerk, but I was the only one on this podcast that said the Eagles were going to destroy the Lions, and we didn't.
That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation.
Hey, I'm holding to it though.
No, I don't blame you. I'm the same way with Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, and that was years ago. And I still die on that hill.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference, Brandon. You were talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, who we knew already that had a chance to be in that conversation. Cincinnati has not been sort of even relevant since they went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Cowboys.
Who would you rather have? No, they actually won. You talking about who? Cincinnati?
Yes.
Cincinnati won that game.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Would you rather have Jalen Hurts right now, or would you rather have Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yeah.
I would say Jalen Hurts on my part.
Okay.
I would say Jalen Hurts on my part.
Push?
You want
Look.
You want to grab them cheeks and push?
I'll say Joe Shiesty's good. I'm just saying.
Why did it turn into that?
Yeah, this is guys. This is getting out of control now. Jonka, just stop.
We can talk about this off. We can talk about this off camera, please.
Yeah, it's time to go anyways. We were way over.
Right, I was going to say we're 14 minutes over.
Yeah. But,
the fact that you say top 4 makes no sense to me because there has to be an NFC. There has to be an NFC team in there.
Tune in next week. We'll talk about top 4.
Tune in next week. If you want me to come on next week's episode wearing those little red clown noses with the little clown hat, I'll be more than happy to.
Yes, that would be suitable for that conversation.
win.
Anyways, that's gonna be it. We're done. Hope you guys enjoyed this rather interesting episode, especially towards the end here. We'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a great rest of your week and have a good night.